Howdy YouTube, Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Today we're going to finish up our FreePBX 14 setup video, and today we're going to cover adding your extensions to FreePBX 14. We've already put them in there, but I'm going to show you how to connect a phone and how to monitor that connection to make sure it's working using Putty. And then I'm going to show you how to install Flash Operator 2, Panel 2. And if you follow the steps I've followed, there'll be very minimal additional setup you need to do to Flash Operator Panel 2. But showing is better than telling, so let's get to the video right now. Alright, so I'm at my Windows desktop and I've got Putty loaded here, so I'm going to go ahead and Putty into my server, whatever IP address you gave yours, -5.100. I'm going to go ahead and log in as root. Okay, that should be logged in. Now I'm going to go ahead and increase the font size on here. So let's see appearance, the font, we're going to change that to let's go to a 16-point font, apply that, and now you can see that a little bit better. So once you're at the FreePBX prompt, what I want you to type in is asterisk space -R VVV. And what that does is it puts asterisk in verbose mode so that you can monitor incoming and outgoing connections from your Putty terminal. So let me see if I could show you this. So if I were to go ahead and make a phone call, let me just call my cell phone here, and you can see the commands being executed in the background. And you're not going to hear anything, except you may hear my cell phone ring here in a second. Yes, you do. So you can see that it's passing the information, and then when I actually make a connection, you'll see how that Putty tells you that there is actually a connection. When I hang up the phone, then you should see the script running to hang up the phone. So it's very handy to have this Putty terminal up and to have asterisk running in verbose, triple verbose mode, so you can kind of see what's going on in the background. So the next thing I want to do is show you how we're going to connect an extension up to asterisk. Alright, so what you're going to need to do is under your extensions, make sure you've got your extensions all set up, and I'm going to show you, for example, we're going to play with the server room extension. So I've already set these up. I covered this in a previous video, how to set this up. So if we go over here and we edit this connection, what we need in order to set up the phone is we need the extension number, and then we need this secret password here. So what you'll want to do is copy this secret password, because you're going to need that over on the phone. So let's get into the phone interface now. So if we come over here, you'll see that I have a Grandstream GXP 11100 or 1100. If I come over here to account and general settings, I already have the account set up, but what you would do is you would enter the IP address of your SIP server, which is your FreePBX server. I go ahead and fill in the outbound proxy as well, and then your user ID and authenticate ID should be the same, which is the extension, and then you'll just right click here and paste your password there that you copied. Give it a name. The voicemail user ID is *97, and then what you do is click on save and apply. And when you do that, the phone should then make a connection to the asterisk phone system. So let me bring up, I'm going to go ahead and right now you see my account is not active. I'm going to go ahead and click on yes, and then I'm going to click on save and apply, and then real quick I'm going to come back here under the Putty terminal, and we're going to see what happens when that phone actually registers and connects to FreePBX 14. So any moment now, there you go. So now it says the extension 203 is now reachable. Anyway, but you can see the phone is now registered SIP, and you can see the IP address and the SIP channel that phone is using. So, and if you come over here back to the phone and go to account status, you'll see now that the phone is registered. So that's how difficult that is, but you can see how handy this asterisk verbose command could be for example, let me show you what happens when I try to call that extension. We'll bring up 3CX, and I'm just going to call 203. And you can, I don't know if you can hear that, but the phone in the server room is ringing, and you can see the commands that are executed under Putty and asterisk when you make that connection. I'm going to go ahead and hang up, and you'll see that it did a macro to hang up the call. So that, in a nutshell, is how you can monitor your extensions being registered under FreePBX. I think it's a very handy tool to have. Now, FreePBX comes with a program called iSymphony, and I don't know enough about it to judge it. But from what I've heard from other people that install FreePBX, they're not a big fan of iSymphony. I have always been a fan of Flash Operator Panel 2, and I'm currently up on their website right now. So if you have a simple client that doesn't need call monitoring and that kind of thing, then you may not need this. But there is a free version of it. I think it works for up to 15 extensions, so you can try it out, or you could even run it on your home FreePBX home-based system if you want to. But I find this extremely helpful for probably the majority of my clients that use FreePBX. It's very simple to install. I recommend you do this last. After you get FreePBX set up, you want to set up all your extensions, all your trunks, all of your what is the term I'm looking for? All of your conferences, etc. Have all that set up before you install Flash Operator Panel 2. It just kind of makes it a more seamless transition. Now, I'm going to show you simply how I set up Flash Operator Panel 2, how I installed it, and then I'm going to show you it up and running. It is by no means a tutorial video on how to set up FOP2. However, they have great support. They have really good help modules here, installation and configuration. They have a user's guide and FAQ. They have forum. They have some screencasts. You can even look up FOP2 or Flash Operator Panel 2 on YouTube, and there's some great videos out there. But I'm just going to show you just a basic setup of how I have it done. So let's get started with that. Alright, so we're on the Flash Operator Panel 2 page. If you come over here to the Help section and click on Installation and Configuration, it's very, very simple. Don't worry about all this other stuff. This is the command you want right here. So you want to copy this command, right click, copy, go to Putty and make sure you're at a Putty terminal, and you paste that command in here to install Flash Operator Panel 2. Now, I've already installed it, so I'm not going to run the command again. Now, remember previously I told you make sure that you have all your extensions and your trunk lines set up, and you'll be good to go. Now, what you'll need to know, for example, I'm using extension 200 as like my default operator panel. So what you'll need to know is the voicemail password. I'm sorry, I can't think straight today. What you'll need to know is the voicemail password for that extension, because that's how you're going to log into Flash Operator Panel 2. So just come over here to a new prompt once you've got it installed, and go to the IP address of your phone server, and then enter /FOP2. It's saying it can't. Oh, I put the wrong IP address in there. That would help, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's not at 5.1, it's 100. Okay, so my extension that I've set up is 200, and I've set up a very simple password on it. Just click on Accept. So what you'll see here now is you'll see the status of all your extensions. You can see all of mine are online currently. You'll see the status of your trunk lines over here. You see the status of your ring groups, any parking slots you have, and if I had any conferences here, they would appear as well. I haven't set up any conferences, but you get the general idea. So that's how easy it is to set up FOP2. Follow that command and go out to a command line, type that in. You might want to reboot your PBX server after you install it, just to make sure everything is set up right and make sure that FOP2 starts up automatically. And that's basically it. So if you go over to the About section on FOP2, It'll give you an idea of all of the features that it has. As you can see down here, it's got a ton of features. I'm not going to read them. You can read them on your own. Just go to the Flash Operator Panel 2 website, check it out. But I think you will find that it's very handy, not only for your clients and for corporate users, but this is very handy for home users as well. It gives you the ability to barge in on calls and monitor calls and that kind of thing. So if you got kids, or you have, for example, I have my elderly mother living with us. We moved her off of a cell phone and onto a wireless DP720 handset instead of having a cell phone. She just carries that unit around, and we get really good coverage with that phone, the Grandstream 720 in the home. But do some research on Flash Operator Panel 2, and you'll find out it's very useful. And like I said, they have great help on here. They even have a user guide that tells you how to log in, how to pass your credentials. You can do multi-panel views. There's a ton of features on this, and this takes you through the setup and configuration of it. So I'm not going to waste a bunch of time on this video showing you how to configure Flash Operator Panel 2, but if you follow my instructions and make sure you have your extensions and your VoIP trunks and all that set up ahead of time, once you install Flash Operator Panel 2, it just simply adds all those to the Flash Operator 2 panel. So there you go. The next thing I'm going to cover is IVR, and I just want to prepare you ahead of time. Make sure you have a script set up for your IVR. In other words, write it down. It's a lot easier than trying to wing it when you're setting up your IVR. But I'm going to take you through the steps here in just a moment to set up the IVR. But I just wanted to discuss, I'm still running FreePBX 14 on that HP T610 thin client, and it is running remarkably well. The only thing I would have to comment on is it's a little bit laggy, and I believe that's due to the 16 gig SD card that's in the machine. Otherwise, it runs fine. The voice quality, phenomenal. I have had zero trouble with voice quality. This is why, as you know, I used to run my VoIP server in a virtual machine. But the thing with voice is it's very time sensitive and critical. So if you're just running a home PBX, for 3 or 4 extensions, I think you'd be fine running it on a hypervisor, whether it be Hyper-V or ESXi or Zen or XCPNG, whatever you want to run it on, even Proxmox. It should run fine for the home user. But I'm in a business environment, and the call quality is very important to me because it looks unprofessional when you call a client and you're having call quality issues. So again, I'm testing it in here. I think the only thing I would change in that T610 is to maybe get a 40 or 50 gig SSD drive and install it in there for a little bit faster response. But your mileage might vary, but I've had very good luck with that thin client. I'm glad I bought it. It makes an excellent phone system. I'm actually going to probably put this in use for a client. It's time to replace their phone system. It's been up and running for 4 or 5 years, and I want to try and set up one of these for a client and see how it does. All right, so let me move this over here. I've got my soft phone set up so I can do my recordings with my soft phone, and I have my handy dandy trusty Logitech headset here, which I use for my phone. My extension is the help desk, so your extension may vary, but what you do to set up your IVR is the first thing you need to do is set up your recording files. In other words, you need to record your greeting. That's the first thing you want to do. And what you do is you come over to Admin, come down to System Recordings, and we're going to add a recording. And I'm just going to call this IVR-open for my open recording. And this will be the IVR for operating hours. You can call it whatever you want, give it whatever description you want. Now the big one is right here. What you're going to do is enter the extension of the phone that you want to make the recordings from. In my case, it's extension 201. which is my soft phone right here. I know it says 610, but pay no attention to that. In fact, I'll go in and fix that right now. Let's see, yeah, help desk, and I should be 201. So I'll just make that change real quick. I prefer 3CX phone as my soft phone. It's just a personal preference. You can use any soft phone. You'll see now that my extension is properly reflected on here. So if I were to come in here and enter extension 201 and then hit the call button, it's going to place a call to my phone, and I'm going to record my greeting. So let me bring my notes up here. I've created a script, and I'm going to work off of that script. So give me just a minute here. I'm going to go ahead and place my headset on my head, and I'm going to go ahead and click on call. And I'm going to answer the call. Thank you for calling Managed Computer Solutions. For sales and accounting, please press 1. For service, press 2. And for all others, press 0 to reach an operator. Okay, so now I've recorded my message. I should be able to, I need to give this a file name. So I'm going to call it IVR Open. And I'm going to save it. And you can see now it's added custom IVR Open to my IVR string. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Submit. And I'm going to tell it OK. And it's preparing it into a WAV format. And now I have my IVR Open message right here. Now I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do the closed script. So I'm going to add recording. And I'm just going to type in IVR, oops, sorry, if I could type IVR closed. I'm going to go to my extension again, enter 201. I'm going to submit it. It's going to call me. Oh yeah, I need to click on call. I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong button there. Thank you for calling Managed Computer Solutions. Unfortunately, our offices are currently closed. For after-hours support, please press 2 and leave a message, and your call will be returned as soon as possible. Thank you for calling, and have a nice day. Now then, I simply hang up on the call. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it IVR Closed. And I'm going to save that. Then I'm going to submit it. It's telling me it's going to take a little bit of time to convert the format. And then now the final thing I'm going to do is apply the config. So now I have my two messages recording, one for the opening hours and one for the operating hours, and one for the closed hours. Alright, so now that I have them recorded, I can come back and check them if I want to. All you have to do is come back to your, go to admin and go to your system recordings. And let's check our open message first. So we'll click on the little pencil to edit it. And you'll notice right here, you have a little black button here, and that is a play button. You can also, I believe, play it back on the phone. I don't see the option to do that here. I see an option to record over it, but I just want to hear how this sounds. So let me turn on my desktop audio here, and we'll go ahead and play it.
Thank you for calling Managed Computer Solutions. For sales and accounting, please press 1. For service, press 2. And for all others, press 0 to reach an operator.
Now, hopefully there wasn't an echo on that. I didn't even think about it when I turned the desktop audio on. But you get the idea. That's how you can play it back. And the sound quality was pretty good. So I'll come back here to System Recordings, and we'll check our other IVR recording, which is the close message. This time I'm not going to turn on the desktop audio. I'll just play it, and you can hear it through the microphone here. So we'll go ahead and click on play on that now.
Thank you for calling Managed Computer Solutions. Unfortunately, our offices are currently closed. For after-hours support, please press 2, leave a message, and your call will be returned as soon as possible. Thank you for calling, and have a nice day.
So there we go. There's our custom IVR close message. And you can do all that right within the FreePBX interface. It's a pretty neat little feature. Now let's get our call routing done and our time conditions set so the IVR will know what message to play when a person calls in. So before we get into configuring the IVR, we've already done our recordings, but we want to route calls now using the IVR. But before we do that, we need to make sure of a couple of things. So I've got basically two options. Option 1 was for sales and accounting, and option 2 was for service, and then 0 to reach an operator. So if the customer presses 1, I want it to ring my desk phone right here at extension 200. So what we need to do is under the extensions is make sure that you have your voicemail set up and you've configured your busy and away messages, etc. Same way with the other extension we're going to use for 2, which is for the help desk. You want to make sure that you have your voicemail set up on this one as well. So, and the reason for that will become clear here in a moment. Now, the other thing I've done is created 2 ring groups. So if we go into the admin and go down to, I'm sorry, it's under applications, go down to ring groups. Wait for it to come up here. I've created one called sales. Now the sales ring group should ring only extension 200. And then if there's no answer, we want it to go to voicemail, but we want to go to the unavailable message. So we'll go ahead and click on submit on that. And now we need to apply that configuration. Alright, so that's applied. So let's go back down to ring groups, and we want to do the same thing for ring group 601. Let's come down here to 601. And it's going to ring extension 201 and 202. I'm actually going to change that. Actually, no, we're going to leave 201 and 202 in there because 201 and 202 are both the help desk. At my desk, the 3CX phone, and then 202 is the work desk behind me. So if it doesn't answer, I want it to go to 201 help desk unavailable message, and we'll submit on that. Go ahead and apply, and hopefully it won't take as long to apply this time. Now you need to take those steps before we start doing our IVRs. Okay, that's completed, so let's come back to the dashboard. Now currently I have failed to ban or intrusion detection. Yeah, failed to ban is currently turned off. It's warning me about that, so there's a reason for that, but I'm not going to go into it in this video, but suffice it to say you will have that turned on, and it will be turned back on here shortly. Alright, so let's get our IVR created here. We're going to do 2 of them. We're going to do one for our open and one for our closed. So let me bring my notepad up over here so I remember what I typed in there. I think we go to admin. No, we go to applications, go to IVR. So the first one we're going to do is the open IVR. So I'm just going to call this open IVR, business hours IVR, and then for the announcement we're going to choose our IVR open. Now the timeout value is how many seconds before it waits for a key press to be put in there. I like to change that to about 5. I think 10 seconds is way too long. Now the other thing I like to do is timeout retries. I like to keep that set to 1. What it's going to mean is it's going to wait 5 seconds for somebody to press a button, a 0, 1, or 2. If it doesn't, then it will give them 1 chance to retry that. After that, it will do what's called the timeout destination, which is what I want to do. So what I want to do on timeout destination is I want to come down here and I want to terminate the call and hang it up. That way it helps to prevent scammers from, getting into your system and trying to get around the IVR. So that's what I leave mine set to. Now remember, we have three choices, 0, 1, and 2. So if they press the 0 key, our destination is going to be our ring group. So we'll come down here and choose our ring group, and we're going to do sales. And the next thing I'm going to do is add another entry, and we're going to do that for 1. And 1 is for, sales. I start all over again. 0 is to ring a specific extension, and we'll have that ring the help desk, because that's usually the handset I'm using is usually my soft phone. Now for option 1, which is sales, we're going to have that go to a ring group, and that ring group will be sales. Then I'm going to add one more entry for key press number 2. That is going to go to another ring group, and that is going to go to support. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and submit on that, and then apply the configuration. So now we have our IVR set up for our open hours. Now we need to do the same thing for our closed IVR. So again, we'll click on Add IVR. And we'll call this After Hours. Now this announcement will be our IVR closed. And our timeout, we're going to set that to 5. And our timeout retries, we're going to set that to 1. And then the timeout destination will be to simply terminate the call. However, if they press number 2, we want it to go to our ring group, and we want that ring group to be support. So this is our after hours support. So when they call in, they'll be given one option, is to go to press digit number 2. That'll ring our phones in the ring group called support. Go ahead and submit on that, and then apply the configuration. Alright, so I'm back on my closed IVR. I made a boo-boo. I want to set this to 2, not 1. And that's going to be on both IVRs. So I'll go ahead and submit it for this one, and then we'll go back and change the open IVR. See, even I sometimes make mistakes, but I like to take you along for the ride. So again, we'll set that to 2. And submit. And then we'll apply that configuration. Alright, so now let's, we're going to work on, we need to, part of the IVR is, you want the routing based on time. For example, you may want your business hours calls to go to one IVR and your after hours to go to another IVR. For example, the open IVR and the closed IVR. So what we need to do is set up groups. So we need to come under Applications and go to Time Groups. Not Time Conditions, but Time Groups. So we click on that, and we're going to add a time group. And we're going to call this operating hours. Now I'm going to do a very simple one. Our operating hours are from 0800 to 1700 hours. And yeah, I can put the 0 in there as well if your times are different. And our weekday starts on Monday and our weekday ends on Friday. So we have a pretty simple time condition for operating hours. So I'll go ahead and submit that. Now I have it in there, and I'll go ahead and apply the configuration. So now that we got that time group set up, we can come up here and we can list our time conditions and add a time condition. So we'll call this, let's call this operating hours. We're not going to worry about the PIN code or the BLF. And what we are going to do is set a time. We're going to use time group mode, and we're going to select operating hours. So if this time group condition matches Then we're going to go to the IVR and we're going to go to open. Now, if the destination does not match this time group condition called operating hours, we're going to have it to go to the IVR and we're going to have it go to the closed IVR. I'll go ahead and submit. And then apply. Alright, so we've got our time conditions set up, we got our time groups set up, we got our IVR set up. Now we need to tell the system how to route that. So we need to go to connectivity and we need to go to our inbound routes. So the two inbound routes I'm concerned about are my local connection here, my 210 number, and my toll-free number. So I've already got my routes set up. We did that on a different video, but I don't want it to go into the ring groups anymore. So I'm going to edit this inbound route, and I'm going to tell it when a phone call comes in on that number, I want it to go to I believe it's going to be a time condition. And I want that to be, that time condition to be operating hours. I think this is the way we do it. I'm going to click on submit. And then the next thing I'm going to do is the same thing for my 888 number. I'm going to go here and edit, and I'm going to send that to a time group as well, or time condition, operating hours, and submit. Now, so what we're telling it is anytime a call comes in on this number, it should go to the time condition operating hours, and then whatever those time conditions are stated in there, it should follow those instructions. So I know you would think, you know, logically you would think, oh no, you put your IVR here. No, actually, if you're using time conditions, you put them here. Now, say for example, I've got a client that doesn't care what time it is. They want it to go to the same IVR every time. So I could just come back in here and say, okay, anytime anybody calls on that number, just send it to the IVR open. So that's another way to do it. But we're going to keep it at what I had it set at, which was time condition, sorry, not text to speech, hit the wrong button, time conditions, operating hours, submit. So now we have that set, our time conditions and our inbound routes are set, our IVR is set up. We're going to go ahead and click on the apply config button. Alright, so I have my handy dandy cell phone here. Let's go ahead and dial our office number, and I'll let you hear what they have to say.
Thank you for calling Managed Computer Solutions. For sales and accounting, please press 1. For service, press 2. And for all others, press 0 to reach an operator.
I'm going to press 2. So you can hear my phone's ringing. It's working. It's that simple. I mean, I can't, I could try to make it a little more simple, but that's it. It works. The voicemail setup, we've already tested that, so there you go. It wasn't as difficult as it seems. Nothing ever is. So I still have my asterisk triple verbose up here, so I can go back up and I can see all the commands that get executed when calls come in, when the IVR is set up, when the time conditions are set up, when a phone call comes in, how it's answered, where it goes to, etc. So that is a very, very handy piece of kit to have on the back end of Asterisk. It'll help you, it'll save you a whole lot of time in configuring it. Now I still have some errors here that I'm going to go ahead and clear off. And I need to do it's telling me there's a YUM update that needs to be done. But I also have, just show you up here, we have Flash Operator Panel running now. It's working, it shows our trunks, shows our ring groups, and everything is running well. So again, not as complicated as people like to make PBX setups to be. This one was fairly trivial. Well, okay, there you go. Soup to nuts. Again, not a tutorial video, but if you follow along with all of the videos in this FreePBX 14 section, you should be able to get a phone system up and running without a whole bunch of trouble. Please leave your comments down in the comments section. If you have a better way of doing things, or if you have a question, shoot me an email at unckyjoesplayhouse@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to answer it. But keep in mind, I get a lot of email every day, and I've got a business to run, so I'll do my best to help you. I want to send a special shout out to Tom at Lawrence Systems, and to Chris at Crosstalk Solutions. I learned everything I know about setting up FreePBX 14 from Chris at Crosstalk and from Tom at Lawrence System. They have an excellent video over there on FreePBX 14 setup that does a little deeper dive than I do. But that's going to end it here for the FreePBX 14 series of videos. However, as I learn new things, I will of course share them with you. I'm so grateful to have an audience to share this with. They're not my most popular series of videos, but again, I made a promise months ago to do a FreePBX 14 video and wanted to make sure I got it done for you guys. And here it is. So anyway, we hope you found the video entertaining and informative as always. Please give us a like, thumbs up down below, leave your comments in the comment section, subscribe, hit the notification bell, etc., etc. Also, if you're on Facebook, you can join our Unky Joe's Playhouse Facebook page, and you'll get notifications of when we post new videos or when we're doing live streams and that kind of thing. Live streaming I've kind of put on the back burner. I've just been too busy on the weekends to do it, but we will be doing some live streams again, and I'll try to give everybody a few days notice before we do that. Donate if you're so inclined. We take PayPal, we take Patreon, and we have a bunch more exciting videos coming up for the fall season of YouTube, as I like to call it. So it's my favorite time of the year is fall and winter and spring. So summer I could take or leave. But anyway, I digress. Don't forget, folks, that we will see you on the other side.